Welcome. Look at us, sipping coffees. Cheers.
Slauncher hands, my brother.
Slauncher. Well done. Right, we're in. Somewhat 17 minutes later. My show. This is called "What's Your Story?" where I have a yarn to my guest over there. And but basically, I don't do formal stuff. It's just going to be sit down in a chat and just let us know how because so often we go through our stuff and we sit down and we don't get up. Basically, we get up and we start crawling and we stay in that crawl mode. However, myself knowing your story there, PJ, you've got some bit of quite a story where we can all look up to and aspire to be like you. You've gone through some bits and pieces, and it's great. It's good to know that there are people out there who have gone through stuff and they've gone on to inspire people. And you are one of these people that has certainly inspired me. So, with that said, boom. The floor is yours.
I'm humbled, man. I'm humbled. Hans, you know what? We've all. There's not one person that I know that has achieved greatness that haven't been through the absolute wars, that haven't come out of the gutter. Because when you've been through hell and back, you appreciate everything. You appreciate everything that you've got, and you work your ass off to make sure you never go back to that place.
You're absolutely right. And it's. I love the fact that there's a group of individuals that I'm now in contact with, and we're all on the same page. We're all we've all gone through some stuff, and now that we are progressing forward in life, we're all at different levels. That's for sure. Multiple business owners like yourself to people like myself who are just starting out, and it's getting around the right crew, getting around the right people with the right mindset to be able to move forward personally. Is key,
100%. I couldn't agree more. You need a support network, and to have, for years, if you've got no one, you've got to do it on your own. You have no choice. You don't know that these type of support networks exist, and it was only by chance that pretty much most of us have all stumbled across it. And I for one am. Just in all every day that I've got such a good network of people to bounce off, to bounce ideas off. If I'm feeling crap, I can speak to a multitude of people that will lift me back up, that will elevate me, that will keep me inspired and motivated. It's so essential for a good support network.
Yeah. Just reading the comments in the corner there. So tell us, let's get your story underway so we can actually, we all know that, a lot of us will know the PJ Quinn, the business owner but behind how you got to where you are now, what give us an insight as to where you have come from.
Well, let me tell you, I'll take it from the top, really. So some of these guys, some do know my backstory, some don't. And for anyone that's catching it on the replay, for anyone that's watching it we repurpose onto YouTube, I'll give everyone a brief background of why I'm here, what is my why, why I do what I do. So I was born in the west of Ireland in Sligo. Lived there lived there until I was 8 years old. Both my mother and father were Irish, but they met in the UK. They met in Birmingham, got married, moved back to Ireland, had me and my brother, and we were going to school there. And then all of us, my dad was a turf contractor. He was a business owner himself, and my mum was an aspiring country singer. My mum was a great singer. But so my dad run the business. My mum was helping out with everything else, keeping everything in order. And then tragedy happened. So one day, the health and safety was terrible back in the 80s, and there was just no health and safety. So the machines that they were using, they were big track machines. There was just basically my dad had made these machines. They sort of welded bits of other machines and put them together. So there was a lot of accidents. My dad himself got his toes ripped off on one of the machines. I think he's got 3 toes on one foot. My dad's best friend had his arm torn off. He's got a wooden arm now for the last 30 odd years. Well, ever since I knew him. And one of his other very, very close friends, he slipped one day. He was working on a machine, slipped, fell, got caught in the tracks, and got absolutely mangled. His body was that torn to bits that his family couldn't even identify him. We were in a small rural town in Ireland, and that was a really tight-knit community. So when something like that happened, it brought the whole place to its knees. Everyone was absolutely, completely devastated. My mom took it very, very badly. I've gone into school, and one of the other kids says to me, "Your daddy killed Michael Phillips." I've gone home crying. Told my mum, and she was like, "Listen, that was the last straw." And she was like, "We're going. We've got to get out of here." So she packed us up, and we moved to England. She still had some of her family over there, so we ended up moving to England, and the rest is kind of history. But it was just bad, the fact that I was with his 2 daughters. He had a young son. It was really, really, really bad times. And my mum she couldn't face any more of it. It's one of those things. It was an accident, but you can't help feel responsible for that sort of thing. So yeah, that's the reason I'm in England today. And I always say, as soon as I'm 16, I missed home, man. I always said, as soon as I'm 16, I hated England to start with. I absolutely hated it. I used to get bullied at school when I was because I'd come over, went to primary school, I had a thick Irish accent. Kids used to take the piss out of me because of my accent. I know I've got an English accent now, but that was only because, I suppose, just because of being surrounded by kids, you kind of adopt. Your accent can change when you're pretty young, but if you come at a certain age and if you're surrounded by people, you can keep it. But so yeah, I used to get loads of shit when I went to school. I hated it. I wanted to move back. I said, as soon as I'm 16, I'm going back to Ireland. I hate this place. Anyway, 25 years later, I did end up back, and it's kind of feels like home here now. Yeah. But yeah, I think things were, it was tough growing up in the early. Well, I think it was late 80s, early 90s, because of all the stuff. I mean, being Irish in the UK was still a bit hostile. The IRA had been prevalent in the 70s and 80s with all the bombings in Birmingham and all over the UK, and there was still a lot of hostility. You used to, there was pubs would have notices on the doors saying no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. Saying that these people aren't allowed in. No blacks, no dogs, no Irish, and that was the mentality. It was really, really, really hostile. So I've gone into school. I'm still, it wasn't too bad when I was growing up, but there still was an element of hatred there for the Irish. So I used to get shit in school for being Irish, and then I'd come home, and we lived in a really multicultural place in the UK, and it was like me and my brother. Well, it was kind of mixed. The white kids were so naughty that my mum wouldn't let us hang around with them, and the black kids, they treated me as, I shouldn't have been hanging around with them. So some of them used to give me shit and give me we used to have a bit of racism and all of that. But it made me what I am today. Going through all of that, it's just crazy growing up in that environment. From coming over from Ireland, I was 8 years old. I had never seen a coloured person or a black person in my life. Never seen an Asian person in real life. You know, I was completely wet behind the ears, so to speak.
That's crazy, you know, and it's, you know, you only know what you know when you're surrounded by, you know, it's cliche, when you are surrounded by, you know, obviously when you're in Ireland and you're surrounded by your friends and your family, and you know, and you haven't ventured outside, although you were young, and you know, the first time you'd ever seen an Asian or a black person wasn't until you've sort of gone outside of that area. You gain a perspective as to how big the world actually is. You know, there's a comment in here by one of the Arius. He was never knew that sort of stuff happened outside the US. You know, and it amazes me to see that, you know, everybody has a story, but a lot of our stories are the same. You know, we go through over here in New Zealand is very much similar to what you might go through in Ireland or England or anywhere else on the planet. So, you know, creating that support for everybody is something that we all sort of, you know, we kind of need to look to, you know.
I mean, there's good and bad in every corner of the world, man. There's these narrow-minded people. There's you know, extremists. No matter where you go, doesn't matter what race, creed, religion, color. It doesn't matter anything. You're gonna get these people. I mean, I'll never forget the day. We owned pubs. My parents owned pubs when we did move to the UK. And obviously, my mum being the landlord, she had to kick out these idiots. So, you know, I closely became a target then. So these guys had seen me out going to school or seen me whatever. I'll never forget the one day car was driving down a road. They pulled up, the windows rolled down, and it was. I found out later it was a guy that my mum had barred out of the pub and kicked him out. But the windows rolled down as they come out, and this gun sticks out the window. He says, "What are you going to do now, you Irish bastard?" He said, "Your dad's a wanker." Fucking all of this stuff. And I was like, "Whoa, man!" I'm there with my school bag on. What am I going to do on it? And I think a couple of weeks later, my mum woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, screaming. Pulled me and my brother out of bed. We had to go down the fire escape. The two cars were on fire underneath the pub, where someone had set them on fire, like put petrol bomb them. I mean, we had all sorts of crazy stuff like that going on, and it wasn't so much. I don't think it was so much a racism as it was. You know, it was just idiots that had been barred from the pub. I think I was about 13 or 14 when that happened, Kim.
That's See, you know, it's all straight out of Boys to Hood, you know.
Boys in the Hood. It's all experience, man. It's the memories. It's the childhood memories, and you know what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, doesn't it?
Oh, stop that. You know the one. Hey, you know, it amazes me, you know, as we, like yourself, you know, I have noticed that you've actually named the people that, or the events by specifically naming the person who had passed away, and, you know, those are the things that sort of create what's the term? They create something within us to push past. You know, like you had this memory of, you know, as tragic as it was, the guy dying on your father's work site. So you know that guy, and now you go, that's a story that is, you know, no one can take that away from you because it's such a powerful part of your life that you've seen this, and it's just like.
I'll never forget it. I still feel bad whenever I see his son. His son's a grown man now. And I still feel partially responsible, even though it's nothing to do with me. Why that kid grew up with no dad, you know, he was working for my dad, and I'll never forget the when I was a kid, and they said, you know, other kids are kids. They don't really know. But when, you know, the other little kid come up to me in the playground and says, "Your daddy killed Michael Phillips," you know, that you don't forget that shit, man. That stuff sticks with you.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think one of the toughest times, you know, when you're, you know, as you go through life, is it's probably the playground. You know, like kids are quite, you know, although they are naive to a certain extent, they don't really understand. You know, there's no understanding from the children as a child that what they say to someone as an 8-year-old to an 8-year-old or whatever age you are at that young age, that whatever they say can often sticking inside our heads, and you know, we look at each other and carry on, but deep down inside, whatever's said can have a lasting effect, either for the positive or for the negative. You know,
definitely, it's mad the stuff that you remember, or that you know your brain chooses to remember, or it just never forgets, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, we've got some of your stories, and in fact, let's just have a wee snippet of a break. I asked, you know, I love just turning things up. You know, we're on a bit of a serious mode, so I like to keep it just chill. And give me an item. You've got an item in front of you.
I had to run.
You should have 3.
I had to run quickly, Hans, and just grab this. What am I going to go for first? Let's go. I'm feeling a bit left out here because, you know, you're sporting the Fighting Irish hat, and I think just as my my upbringing has taught me to be resilient, that's why I love these hats so much, and that's why I love the Fighting Irish. You know,
it's brilliant. Just going to duck down a little bit so we can take a screenshot, and just that is the business. Yeah, let's get a screenshot done. That is awesome. I'm loving it. So you've got the hat. And it's like you've got the green hat, and it's you know, obviously it's made by is it an Irish company? Yeah.
No, it's Dethroned. It's American brand.
Oh, that's some smart marketing.
It was.
That's awesome. Sorry.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, I'm just trying to Snapchat this at the same time. It was. I think the brand was made famous by Conor McGregor when he started wearing that as his walkout. For his walkout gear, but yeah, and I just like it, man. I'm all about the Fighting Irish, so that's item number 1.
Item number 1, I love it. We'll bring out item number 2 and 3 later on.
You've got the same fighting spirit in you, so that was why in San Francisco I had to give you that hat. You deserved it, man. I had to give it to you.
Look, I appreciate it, and I do wear it with pride. As a proud. Honorary
Irishman, love it.
I like it. So thank you so much for that. Hey, look, let's just move on to a little segment. You know, you spoke about the young part of your life. You know, as a teenager, you know, obviously you'd gone through a portion of it, which you share with us. Was there a time where you had gone and decided, you know, I can't take this anymore. I want to, you know, create a better life for yourself. You know, you'd gone through some bits and bobs. Was there a time where you went, you know, what clicked? Was there anything that sort of you went, oh, right, that's it. I'm out. I'm no longer traveling that road. I want to step into some sort of success, not knowing what you wanted to do. Was there anything like that sort of triggered?
You broke up quite a lot there, but I think I got the general gist of it. And basically, you know, what makes you have such a drive and such a passion? What makes you want to be successful? I think it's the fact of being unsuccessful and going completely down the wrong road. You know, I'll touch on that where I went completely wrong. So I started out. I was. Let me think. Where can I start this story?
From wherever.
Let's go. So I was 19, just out of sixth form, just out of college. I was working. I I was assistant manager at my mum's pub. My mum and dad had split up at this stage. I've kind of bypassed that story. We can go back to that at a later stage if necessary. My mum and dad had split up. They were going through a divorce at that time. I was the man of the house. I was helping my mum run the pub, and I was thinking, well, what should I do with my life? My mum, I think I'd just done some computer programming in college. So I absolutely hated it. And I was thinking, what am I going to do? Where do I want to take my life? So I was passionate about modified cars at the time. And I had a car that I had spent loads of money on doing up. We were going to all car shows. And, you know, I'd always had entrepreneurial tendencies, even as a kid. I nearly got expelled out of school because I got caught selling booze to other kids in the back of the classroom.
Thing to do with it.
Well, you know, we you know, I had the supply, and the kids were the demand. So I was just facilitating the demand. So yeah, I mean, growing up, I was always doing stuff like that. But at 19, I decided I was going to start my own company, and my first company ever was in modified cars. I started sourcing parts from America. We were doing like chrome wheels when they first got big on the modified car scene in the UK. Chrome wheels, hydraulic suspension, Lambo doors. You know, all parts like body kits and all sorts of that sort of stuff. And it was all stuff that couldn't be readily sourced. I mean, the e-commerce wasn't massive, and there wasn't a lot of websites out there that were doing it at the time. So I jumped on right at a good time. Max Power had blew up and all that sort of stuff. So I've jumped on that. I started a website. I partnered up with a body shop, so I was selling the parts, and the other guy was fitting them, doing all custom sprays, flip paints, boot installs, and all of that sort of stuff. So we had a good partnership. We were going to all the car shows, and you know, it was good. Business was good. It was exciting. It was my passion. You know, the people always say follow your passion, and at the time that was my passion. So I was putting my heart and soul into it, and loving every minute. Bought my first property as well when I was 19. And you know, I was on the property ladder. I was thinking things were going great. But one of my favourite quotes of all time is, "You're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." And I was spending my time, and my circle of friends wasn't the same as what it is now. I was hanging around with some, you know, growing up in a sort of in the places where I grew up. That there wasn't many people that were, you know, I didn't know any business owners. I didn't know any inspirational people. There was, we didn't have YouTube. I mean, the internet had just come out. There was no, I don't think YouTube was even about back then. There was dial-up 56K internet. There was like really weird chat rooms. And, you know, there was no one when I was growing up to aspire to. I mean, the people that the youngsters in the area aspired to, the people that had money were the drug dealers. You know, they were the people that were rolling around in the fancy cars that had loads of money. And a lot of kids, you know, they aspired to these people and they looked up to them. So, you know, it was easy to be inspired by the wrong type of person. So, you know, you are who you hang around with. No, my mum was always told me, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. Show me your company and I'll tell you who you are. And that was something that her mother used to say to her as a young girl. And it's true. It's basically, you know, you are who you hang around with. So if you're hanging around with 5 scumbags, you're going to be the next scumbag. And that was the road that I went down. I made some bad choices in life. I got led down. You know, you're your own person. You can't say I didn't get dragged down that path. I chose. I thought that was the way to go. I thought that was, you know,
it is what it is. You know,
It's
when you're
easy,
young,
yeah,
easy influence. You kind
yeah,
of go, well, I feel comfortable with what's your crew that you're hanging around with, and you know, I mean, you just follow that. That's what you do. And, you know, we all kind of do that, and you know, and in hindsight is such an amazing thing. You know, you look back and go, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have done this, but you know, at that particular time, you just follow whatever you're doing. And
that's what I did.
you know,
That's what I did, and it wasn't to a point of 2 or 3 years down the line later. You know, my heart and soul and all my efforts aren't going into my business. I didn't really give two monkeys about the business anymore that I'd worked my ass off starting. You know, my focuses were on the wrong thing, making money in the wrong places, and you know, it was just, it's one of those.
you just
I was, I was associated with the wrong people. I was smoking a lot of weed. I was just not the person that I am now today. I was drinking loads, you know, doing cocaine and drugs and messing around, and you know, just dumb young shit. So anyway, it kind of culminated. Let me have a think about this. I should have really went over my story before.
No, you don't look. I don't want to. It doesn't need to be scripted. It doesn't.
You know, it's real. It's raw. It's authentic. That's what it is. What it is. Basically, yeah, it culminated. My friends were getting sent to jail. They were having their doors kicked off by gangs, and one of my best mates, he had his mum had a gun put in her mouth, and you know, this was happening day to day, and you know, I was thinking I'm going to be next here. It was happening. So you know, I was smoking loads. I was getting paranoid and this, that, and the other, and it ended up anyway. One day I just completely lost it. I absolutely lost it. The amount of I was smoking absolutely loads, and you know, it does affect your mind. And people that say that it does lead to like it can lead to paranoid schizophrenia. And you know, I've had various arguments with people about saying that it doesn't, and there's no proof, there's no evidence. Well, I'm the evidence, I'm the proof. It happened to me, and you know, I was very, very close that I didn't end up with a permanent mental health problem, and it was only for the fact that my mum recognised what was happening. She was like, she tried to. Well, I ended up in hospital for like 2, 3. I don't know, maybe I can't really remember, but kind of ended up like that, and I ended up losing I lost my house, I lost my business. You know, I was very, very lucky not to lose my mind. So you know, I'll come out. I was sleeping on my mum's couch, and you know, it's these times that you know you think that everything is against you, and that's when you've got to. You know, some people look at it as adversity, but I looked at that as opportunity, and it was, you know, I didn't even have enough money to buy a box of cigarettes, so I had to stop smoking. It was one of those. But you know, I did have a roof over my head. Yeah, I was sleeping on my mum's couch, but you know, I was still alive. I was still alive and kicking, and you know, you know, that was the last time I'd ever touched drugs again. So you know, once my head was clear and I was coming back to normal, I come back to my old self. I was like, Pete, what the hell are you doing, man? So basically, I've decided enough is enough. I've got to sort my life out. When I got a minimum wage job, I was getting paid £6 an hour doing some temporary admin work. Started working for the council. I was there. I was only supposed to be there for a few. I think for about 6 months, but they seen I had potential. They kept me on. I cut my hours. Then I paid myself to go through university and start studying. Ended up the company seen what I had done. They seen that I had paid for myself to go to uni. Since I'd reduced my hours, and there was like, whoa, Pete, why didn't you come to us and we would have helped you. We would have paid for your university course, or helped you. And I was like, I spoke to my line manager, and he just shut me down completely. He said, look, it's nothing to do with your job role. He said, nah, forget about it. He said that they're not gonna have a bar of it. He said, Pete, you should have come to me. This was the director talking to me then. And I just got shut down by a narrow-minded line manager who was like, no, forget it. And he was, to this day, he's still just a narrow-minded little man. So, you should never listen to, don't let the people close doors in your face. So I went back to uni. I was studying. I went back to, I was massively overweight. I was out of shape. Growing up in pubs, all the free booze you can drink, all the free crisps, peanuts, onion rings. We had a kebab house over the road. I was going out with a girl who also, her mum owned a pub. So I was going to hers after college. I'd get fed at a pub dinner there. Then I'd go home and my mum would have a pub dinner. So I was eating like 2 big pub dinners a day. I was a big dude, and not in the big sense that I am now.
What are we talking about in weight?
I was a good 16 stone.
I don't know what that is.
Kg? I don't know. Is that 120? I don't know. Put it this way. I'm 14 stone now, Hans. And
14?
Yeah.
1-4.
I'm 14 stone now, so I was 16 stone back then, and there wasn't a bit of muscle on me.
Wow.
So I went back to karate. I swapped drugs for fitness. I was doing kickboxing. I started competing in kickboxing. I was training for like 3 hours a day while I was at uni. It was just, I got passionate about kickboxing, and it was keeping me at trouble, it was keeping my mind occupied, getting me back fit again. And I loved it. And I loved just having a good scrap, more than anything. It's the fighting Irish again. So yeah, we were having like, we was doing some fights. Then I competed at the Midland Championship, won that. Competed at the English Championship, won that. British Championship, won that. We got asked to join the England team for kickboxing. We went over to the Czech Republic. I got a bronze medal at the World Championships in the Czech Republic. It was awesome time. All of this while I was on my last year at uni. I was still studying all day Saturday, all day Sunday, trying to keep on top of everything. I was still working full time, and I somehow managed to start a couple of side businesses as well, and that's how I got into doing the cars and the construction as well. So, I swapped the bad for the good, and once my mind was occupied on good, positive things, the rest was history.
Just a question. You said you went back to university. Did you feel that because you'd gone through some stuff, and you're living the pub life and whatnot, and then you decided, I want to go into university to upskill, to educate yourself? Did you feel that having those processes and having those you were investing in yourself, knowing that you had to sit down and study so you could pass in order to have you had some sort of end goal where you wanted to come out with a degree or something? Did you feel that all of those little steps that you were taking at that particular time were going to put you on a path to success? Because you were succeeding through, obviously you had to do your exams and all those bits and pieces. So those small successes slowly built up to becoming a national, international sports star with your fighting and whatnot.
Absolutely, everything contributed to that, to get me where I am today. And people say, if you could tell your younger self to change anything, or if you could change anything about your past, what would it be? I wouldn't change a goddamn thing, because every last thing has contributed to it. even the fact of I went back to uni, started studying that. It was only because I was thinking, what am I going to do with myself? I'm 24 years old. I've got no job. I've got no formal qualifications, really. I've got no career behind me. What am I going to do? And it was one day I was speaking to my next door neighbour, who was a quantity surveyor, and that was the degree that I started. And he was getting paid a good salary. He was getting paid like 40 grand a year, and he was younger than me. So I was like, whoa. I said, you're getting paid 40 grand a year? And I thought, this guy's an idiot. He's a clever dude, but had no common sense. He was well, I won't say too much, but
yeah.
I was thinking, if someone's going to pay this idiot 40 grand a year, I'm going to have a piece of that. So I went and I investigated how you become a quantity surveyor. I didn't even know what one was. So I had a look at it. It was in construction. So I went and started a construction course. And yeah, that did build me up. And then I moved on to the construction related degree. I'd done the quantity surveying degree, and all of that, the knowledge that I gained from that, I'm using it now. Even though I don't do quantity surveying anymore, I've got a construction firm. The quantity surveying gives you the skills in commercial management, in project management, and the job that I had once I'd finished my degree, I only done it for about 18 months, but I was managing like £1 million developments. I was managing like 7 or 8 developments at one time, anything from like 2 million up to 16 million. For like new build housing. So it all fitted together to where I'm doing these sort of projects on my own now, all be on a smaller scale. I'm doing construction refurbs, I'm doing property investing, and it all fits together nicely. The commercial management and it all seems to have slotted together. And even going back learning, it was 4 years old, going back to school, it was alien to me. I was surrounded by youngsters, and I was thinking, what the hell am I doing? But the quantity surveying was always my plan B. Some people say don't have a plan B. If you have a plan B, you've already failed on your plan A. But I didn't really have a plan A at that stage. I started the career and started the training, went to uni, and I knew deep down that was always going to be my plan B. I knew that there was something else out there for me, but I needed to do something as opposed to nothing. I didn't have, I wasn't at the right, it wasn't the right time in my life to try and be an entrepreneur again. I needed something. I just needed a steady wage. I just needed an income, even though it was minimum wage. I saved every last penny. I budgeted everything. I didn't waste a thing. I didn't buy cans of pop cans of Coke from the shop. I didn't eat out. I saved everything for years until I had enough. Myself and my brother started buying vans from auction. So we bought 2 vans. They were refrigerated vans, and this is how I started my car business. We bought 2 refrigerated vans, stripped all the refrigeration stuff out of them, brought that to the scrapyard, weighed that in for scrap, got the scrap money, took all the stickers off because they were vans owned by supermarkets. So we took all the stickers off the vans, and then we put the vans up for sale once they were all cleaned up. Done that, sold the vans, pocketed the change, reinvested it into more vans, kept on doing that. So we started off buying and selling vans. Then we moved into cars. We were still working full time at this point. So we were working full time. We formed a partnership with a guy who had a car dealership, and we used to send him up our cars that we had bought, and he used to sell them for us from a premises. So we looked official. So that just ticked over nicely for years on the side.
Looked official.
You know what I mean? But
I do know what you mean.
It was better than selling them from the back of my mum's house.
Yeah.
That worked nicely. We had the system set up, and it was ticking over. Then we decided what can we started getting an income from this, and we started having a bit of loose change. So it was like, what can we do now? My pal run a landscaping firm. So we thought, you know what, let's partner up. So we bought a little mini excavator. Was the first thing that we ever bought, and we went into plant hire and started hiring out these excavators. Got a website. Done a bit of research on how to do marketing. My friend was a website designer, so we spoke to him, and we started using Google AdWords. Done it very cleverly, and we were outperforming big companies, and we were undercutting them ever so slightly, but done it using Google AdWords, and we ended up forming a really good plant hire business off the back of that. From the plant hire, we moved into full landscaping. We really developed the business that we had merged with, and then moved into full-blown construction where we are today, doing refurbs, maintenance contracts. We're working with some big companies, taking on some big contracts, full rewires. We're doing internals on new build houses. Just finished doing plastering on 14 houses. We've just rewired apartment blocks. We're doing all sorts of stuff with the construction firm now, and it's just, it's just from winging it, from taking one chance, seeing an opportunity. I remember the very first, because I was under the my ethos was, look, let's just do whatever we get work for. Let's do it. If someone rings up saying, can you change a light bulb? I don't care if none of us know how to change a light bulb. Let's fucking find out how to do it. So I remember the first tarmac. Someone rang me up and said, "I'm after a tarmac drive." Now, we knew how to block pave drives, but we didn't know a thing about tarmacking. So we've pulled up down the road from this job. Me and my business partner. I looked at him and I says, right. I says, tell me what you know about tarmacking drives. And he says, not a lot, to be honest. So we've gone on Google. We found out how to tarmac drives off Google, all the depths, all the stuff like that. So we've pulled up in the van. It was all sign written, looking all official. Got out, spoke to the customers, made them feel at ease. We've been doing this for years. And really just, you got to sometimes fake it before you make it. We winged it.
Yeah.
But every job after that, we knew how to lay a tarmac drive. You got to take the chances, and all of the stuff has just led into,
it's just fallen into place. It's like a domino effect, Joe, right?
That's it.
You have gone, you're setting up your bits. Well, you think you're setting up your bits and pieces, and then someone goes, I need a tarmac drive. Oh, yep, we could do that. Yeah, you kind of like, you get your shifty eyes on. You're like, you pull up and you're tapping on your computer or whatever it is, your laptop, and then you're in, and you're like, yeah, sweet, done. And you get out, and it flows. You've gone and taken that step. You've taken that opportunity of a paid job, because someone's obviously going to pay you a wee dollar or two, and you get it done, and you're like, yes, it's. I mean, as hard as it is, sometimes taking that first step, it's the second step that you cherish, because you've taken the step, and now it's just like, oh, I'll take another one and another one.
That's it. The hardest part is starting. Do you know what? When I was working, I procrastinated for a while about leaving my job, and I was like and ahhing, and I was like, is the time right? Is the time right? I knew I had to do it, but for some reason I just kept putting it off. And I was getting paid well, and it was a risk to go from a well-paid career into nothing with no wage, nothing guaranteed. But it was this time that I got into my head. I must have picked it up from somewhere, but it was do one thing every day that scares you, and that was something that I picked up and that stuck with me. So I was sitting there thinking, do one thing every day that scares you. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go and just quit my job. I'm going to go and tell them, stick it where the sun don't shine. So I did it,
So,
and from that point forward, I've always used that. Do one thing every day. The minute you think or do a double take and think, oh, I don't know about that. I think, have I done anything today that scared me? And if the answer is no, then I'll go and do it. And it's all about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
I totally agree. So today, what's your scary thing that you've done today? Please don't say my show.
Sharing my story. It's my scary thing today is it's. I'll be totally honest. The first share story on the Peripreneur show.
Remember that?
Way back 27th of December. I absolutely shit myself. I'd never, some of this stuff I'd never told my best friends. At 24 years old, I lost my house. I lost my business. I was made bankrupt. I'd never told a soul about any of this. I was in hospital, nearly gone doolally. That was a big thing that scared me. But you know what? I'm so glad, and I'm so appreciative that you've asked me on the show today, Hans, because I need to tell my story more. I need to retell it. I need to get comfortable telling it as well, because it can help people. Your struggles can definitely help people, and there's
absolutely. And the thing I love about your story, is the fact that, I said it right at the start. We go through stuff and we get beat down, and it takes its toll, And the important thing is to be able to just stand back up, because once you can stand back up, you can take a step. If you sit down and wallow in your pain and your thinking, look, I know what it's like. I've gone through my own struggles. But you have taken that step. You've stood back up. You've been bankrupt. You've lost, basically your livelihood at the time, going bankrupt and your job and your bits and pieces. And you've gone, right, I'm not settling for this. I'm standing up, and I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to create a life that I want. And, and that's the epitome of my story, of the show. Is like, what is your story? We all go through struggles. We have a story. Now let's move on to our successes, because it's important. Your story is bound to be out there, and it will it'll help someone. If you're only just helping one person, it's invaluable.
That's it. I remember the first time that I shared my story, I had messages afterwards for like a full week solid, saying, my brother's in that same situation. If you got any advice that I can give him, I want to help him. He's doing this. He's making the same mistakes that you made. I said, look, I'm happy to speak to him. Put me in touch with him. I'll speak to him. I'll reach out to him. If there's, like I said, if there's one person that you can help, if there's one person that you can inspire, if there's one person's life that you can turn around, and we all have got the power to do it, no matter how irrelevant or small you think your story is, or how unimportant. There's always one person that you can touch, or one kind word to someone, or one word of encouragement.
Absolutely.
It is. And just to, people ask me why, they look at me now and they're like, Pete, why do you work 7 days a week? Why do you work from 5 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night? Why do you train for 3 hours a day? Why do you do all this stuff? Why are you the last one to leave the office at 11 o'clock or go home at midnight? And it's because I've seen the other side of it. I've seen the gutter. I've seen being broke. I've seen being on my arse, and that's what's made me hungry, because I've been in a place where I don't want to go back to, and I'm hungry for success. Why do I work out 6 days a week for 2 hours on end? Because I know what it's like to be overweight, out of shape, and no self-confidence and depressed. So no self-esteem. That's why I do what I do, so I feel good about myself. Why do I want to be financially free? Because I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to have bailiffs knocking at the door, you know, when you can't pay your bills, when your house is being repossessed, when your business is being shut down. So, you know, I'm not going back to that. That's why I work my ass off. And now I've got like a team of 15 guys that are relying on me. You know, they've all got kids, they've all got mortgages. You know, I haven't got any kids, but I still feel like it's my responsibility to provide for them. They're all, you know, they're my guys. They're working for the company. It's my responsibility. I'm ultimately responsible for whether there's food on their table. So, you know, it's I wouldn't say it's pressure, but that's my why as well. Make sure all my guys are looked after. You know, that's why.
You know, that's, you know, there goes that question. I just grabbed that question that Kim asked earlier, just on the side. But while you have a wee read of that, you know, I'm reminded of Andy Frisella. You know, he talks about provide. You know, I don't believe he's got. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any kids, but he talks about having his businesses, and he's providing for the kids of people that work for him. You know, exactly like you say. Although he doesn't have children, he's providing a job to provide for those kids. So, you know, what you're doing now is affecting not only your staff, but also affecting the livelihood of that staff member's family.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's why I say, look, guys, it's up to every single one of us to go the extra mile every single time to make sure every customer goes out of that door and tells 5 people how shit up we are, how we are the best ones. Why they want to recommend us to anyone that they know, sing it from the rooftops, because we're so good, because we give a shit, because we care about people. And, you know, that's what I say. It's, you know, if we fuck up, it's not just going to be me losing my business and out. The whole lot of us are going to be down at the job centre doing the river dance up to collect our dole money. So, you know, it's not just me, it's all of us. It's, you know, that's how. But, you know, I am blessed that I've got an absolutely wicked team, absolutely wicked. We've all got each other's backs. That some of the guys that have, you know, they've been with me for a long time, and, you know, your team is so important. And one bad egg in the team, and it's infectious. You got to get rid of these bad eggs. I know Haney loves this one, but, you know, there's 2 types of people in this world: anchors and propellers. And, you know, if you're surrounded by anchors, which thankfully I am, you know, every single one of us are trying to push themselves forward. And me as a leader, I'm trying to bring them. I want every single one of them to achieve their goals as well. You know, I want us all to be successful. It's no good me just being greedy and coining all the money, and, you know, that's not what it's about. For me, the money went out the window a long time ago. I don't do any of this for money. Back when I first started my businesses and we were making loads of money, we weren't making loads, but we were making decent. But I knew the key was to reinvest it, and that's all I ever did was reinvest. Now, we had a lot of disposable income when we first started, and we was like, you know, this is great. Let's go and buy new. You know, let's go and waste it on expensive shoes and holidays and just crap. The holidays were good. You remember them. But, you know, the expensive stuff, wallets, you know, Louis Vuitton wallets and belts and, you know, £400 trainers and all of this sort of shit. None of that. That's all bullshit.
It's just stuff that doesn't matter, you know. It's you know, you're not, you know, you might go out and buy the expensive bits and pieces, but in the end of the day, you know, if it's not something that's going to add value to you as an individual, it's not really going to matter. But, you know, hey, look, I just want to touch on the side. You know, there's a question by Kim from earlier: swapping the bad for the good, but it's almost an addiction to another. I think we were talking about going to the gym.
Yeah.
You know, you just see it up there. Do you ever worry if you slow down in the gym or the fitness side of things that the bad would sneak back in?
Not a hope in hell.
There you go, Kim.
Not a hope in hell, don't be daft. Yes, going from I like that. That's a great point, Kim. I really do like that. Swapping the bad for the good is almost one addiction to another. I have got an addictive personality, so that's why whatever I do, I do it with everything. I put everything in 110%. So I know I'm never going to go back to stupid stuff and negative life. No way. I put my heart and soul into anything and everything. So if it's not, I'm always going to be involved in fitness, in the fitness industry and going to the gym. I like that. That's part of my life. But if I was to back away from that, if I found myself with more time, I'm going to invest it in something else positive. There's absolutely no way that I'm going to be wasting my time doing something that's not contributing to the greater good of myself or to the greater good of others. Absolutely. But I do like that.
Awesome. Good. It's a good question.
That's good,
Well done, Kim. Hey, look, we've been on here for a wee while, almost an hour, and it's just been such an easy conversation. You've got to share your story, how you've gone from go to woe and back. It's when we met, and you were one. Obviously there were a few people in San Francisco that I wanted to meet, and I'd seen your story, and you were the one person that I was like most excited to meet. I don't say that out of just to be buddies. I'm just saying that's my honest opinion. I was so looking forward. I was like, when's PJ here? You're coming from San Jose or wherever you're coming from. And when you turned up, I was just like, yes, I was super stoked. So I'm super looking forward to catching up again in the States. For all those who don't know, Streamers Unite are having a get together in Vegas. Now, Nikki, I see you on the side there. I have a wee sneaky suspicion that you're in California. We are all having a meetup in Vegas. Basically, everybody in the room, from what I can see, or thereabouts, where we are just going to it's just to get together. All the people who stream live or watch live streaming, like Periscope and Blab and Facebook Live, and there's a multitude of them. We're all going to get together and just, get together and have just, from coming from Australia, I'm from New Zealand. PJ next door is across the water there in England.
Can I interrupt you and show item number 2?
I was just going to say, I need to say another item. Go on then.
And show item number 2. This sits by my bed, right? This sits by my bed. This is how much it means to me. Look at Can you see that from San Francisco?
That is tight. Who's that guy?
All the guys. Who's this guy here? Hands in my man. All the guys in there. We've got Ricky Baines from Peripreneurs. We've got Alan. We've got yourself, me, Tim's up there, JC Limitless. Oh man, that was
awesome.
That was a life-changing experience for me right there. And to say Periscope has definitely changed my life. 100%. It has changed my life. It has allowed me to now network and get to know with some of the most incredible people. And it is, like I said earlier, a support network. It made me realize that anything is possible. Absolutely anything. We met with some mad, crazy people. Sean Thomas, item number 3. There's his book right there, and that's the signed copy. We met up with Sean Thomas. So we met up with Roger Millionaire Talk. We met up with Greg Walker, who's in the room now, and there's some big dogs right there. And to be able to just hang out with these guys, it just makes you realise that they're no different from us. They're no different from me. They're no different from you. You know, we've all been through struggles. You know, we've all had checkered pasts. And it really, really just brought home the fact to me that we can be anything that we want to be. Absolutely anything. The world is our oyster, and it's up to us. It's up to us whether we grab it by the balls and make it happen for ourselves.
Absolutely. As a youngster, you see these people and you go, they're so successful. How did they get there? And we believe, I don't know how we believe, but we believe that it's been handed to them. But that's not the case. The case is that they've gone out and they started. Everybody starts somewhere. We've started at rock bottom, and the only way forward is up. And these successful people like Greg Walker, like Sean Thomas, started at the bottom and they've worked their way to the top. And it's just a natural progression in life is to want to succeed, and we all go through our bits and pieces. And, I see you there, PJ, and I can see it. You're a very humble man, and I enjoy your company, and I think that you have lots to offer the world. And I'm looking forward to standing on the sidelines and watching you.
Mate, you're going to be there with me, man. You're going to be there with me. And it just is. I'm so excited for the projects that I've got going on now. My businesses, I'm growing them, I'm expanding them, I'm scaling them. But also the projects that I'm working on the sidelines as well. I'm excited every day. I get up and I'm excited to be doing what I'm doing and networking with the people that I am. There's just so much positivity going on right now. It's an exciting time to be an entrepreneur. It's an exciting time to, even if you're only just starting now, it's an exciting time to do it. Like I said, the world is our oyster. It really is. We can do anything that we put our minds to if we focus on, wake up every day, make it a burning desire, and just go out and get it. Go out and get it.
Look, I asked in an email about a book. Have you got a book that you're reading at the moment that you absolutely love? I know you've got Sean Thomas's book there.
I've got Sean's here, which is really, really good, and it's really relevant about the power of naivety. And that's not actually the book that I'm reading now. I'm reading a book now, and it's called Life Leverage by a guy called Rob Moore. He's a property investor. He's from the UK, and he's one to watch. He's coming up. I'll type his name in now. But it's basically how to. It reminds me, his book. It reminds me of the 4-Hour Work Week from Tim Ferriss, and it's similar sort of concepts about how to grow, leverage your time. How to outsource and sort of live a free life. And that's what I'm working towards. In my businesses now, I'm scaling them, I'm growing them, but I'm also automating them. I'm good, but my businesses don't need me. They can. What I'm creating is the sausage machines, and once processes are in place, I'm a creator. I'm a creator at heart. It excites me creating new stuff. I'm not a great executor doing the same thing day in, day out. So what I like to do is create new stuff, build, develop people. So I'm currently developing my team so I can hopefully take a step back. Because I want to be moving on to new, more exciting things. I want to be doing stuff that's going to be inspiring others, influencing and making an impact on others. Your business doesn't need a babysitter. Yes, exactly.
Greg.
So really, that's what I'm trying to do is create a mobile lifestyle. Definitely, it's legacy time. And that's what I'm working on now, is creating my own legacy. I want to make an impact, and I want to make it in a big way. And I've got a lot to give, and I've got a lot to offer, and I know that the stuff that I'm working on now is going to be it's going to be big. It's going to be epic. So Watch this space, guys. Watch this space.
That's perfect. Hey, look, look, I love to, we'll start wrapping up, but I just, there's a couple of things I'm going to get some people who want to come in a second. But before we do, I want to thank you for sharing your story. I see a lot of comments on the side there. Darius, you're hilarious, mate. Darius, do you know Darius?
I do, yeah, mate. No? We started talking through Instagram. Yeah, Darius is a good dude. And
nice.
I'm sorry I've been ignoring the comments. I've been trying to keep focused on, because I know it's easy to get caught up. I know from doing my own show that it's easy to get caught up in the comments, and you fail to deliver the content what you're actually trying to get out there. So I was keen. I haven't touched on half of the stuff that I could have potentially got out there about my story, about what I've been through, and there's a hell of a lot more. But that's just a general overview, scratching the surface. There we go. I didn't know we were expecting more people to come on, Hans.
No, we just go with it. Just what he was going, it's going. I just want to kind of, I love to kind of switch things up, and I don't know if you caught the replay last week with Steve. I love, I'm going to ask you a question, all right? And so I want you to give me. I would like you. This is my favorite part of the show. As you can see, I'm super excited about it already. I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to give you.
Is it multiple choice?
No, I'm going to give you 10 seconds.
Okay.
To answer the question. Okay.
Yeah.
But you need to give me 9 answers.
Oh, holy shit!
Right?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know this was coming.
I try to keep.
I'm going to fuck this right up.
All right, so I've got my wee timer here.
Okay, so 10 seconds. I've got to answer 9 questions.
No, I'll ask you one question, and you've got to give me 9 answers.
Oh, 9 answers. Right. I'm with you.
Right. Say the question, and then I'll put focus. Ready? Name 10 different brands of cars.
Oh my God.
Go.
Audi, BMW, Citroen, Ford, Renault, Seat, Volkswagen, VW, Skoda, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Aston Martin. Do you need more?
Well, no, you did well. You're a couple seconds over, but that's okay. You sneaked in there. 11 seconds.
I had to drop your one first. I got more thrown, boy. Hang on, I need to throw Hans's brand in here.
You do. I'm glad you put that one up first. So there's just a wee bit of fun. I like to, we talk about some deep stuff, and we talk about bits and pieces, and I like to make sure that just to let everyone know I'm not doing this to do anything. It's just more about getting your story out there, getting your brand out there. So how would we get in contact you? And some people on the side there. If they want to reach out to you in particular, how do we do that?
Just dropping my. There we go. PJQuinnofficial.com. It's got links to all of my social media. It needs a bit of updating. I am just about to rebrand the whole lot, rebrand myself. My Facebook link is on there. I'm on Twitter. PJ Quinn _ on Twitter, Instagram. Snapchat is PJ Quinn _1. Snapchat game is going strong, even if I do say so myself.
Crystal's saying that too.
Yeah, cheers, Crystal. Yeah, all my business links are on there, my LinkedIn. If you need to get in touch with me for any way, shape or form, drop me a link on there. It's all going to be rebranded very, very soon. The Quinny Flinny Show is under deep renovations as well. That's about to be relaunched on a whole new level. That's going to really go to new places.
Have you got a date for that yet?
Not yet. We're more. When is the relaunch? It's coming soon. Kim, my main problem is, I've got a hell of a lot of stuff going on at the minute. Quinn, do you sell cars here in Cali, or know anyone that does? I don't, unfortunately. Maybe me in the next 12 months. I might move over to Cali, start up a car dealership.
Glenn will know someone.
Yeah, Glenn's middle of the road. Anyway, I lost my train of thought now.
Oh, you were talking about rebranding, the Quinny Flaney show.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got to make sure that we're launching it properly. That it's going to be. Oh yeah, lots on the table. My main problem at the minute is I'm dieting severely for a bodybuilding show that I'm about 2 weeks out from. It's going to be 2 weeks on Sunday. Never done it before. I've competed in kickboxing and MMA. That's my forte. This is something completely out of the ordinary. I just fancied a challenge. I fancied signing up. Do something every day that scares you. And that was
there you go.
That was one thing. I've got a photo shoot next Saturday in London with one of the best fitness photographers in the UK. I've then doing the following Sunday. Then it's a competition called Miami Pro. Hopefully, I'm going to be ready. I've been dieting my ass off for the last 14 weeks. Done a complete body transformation probably since the last time you've seen me hands. I'm half the man I used to be. Well, not really, but yeah, I've been dieting, and the diet has been tough. Training, heavy training, and it does take it out of you. Sometimes your focus isn't there. You might be talking, and you think, "What the hell am I even talking about here?" But yeah, that's go on.
So you did the Miami Pro. So you're heading over to the States for this, yeah?
No. The show. I am actually heading to Miami straight after the show. Strangely enough, but the show just ironically happens to be called Miami Pro. It's in London.
Okay.
It's I think it's a European Championships or something like that. So I've just jumped in at the deep end. Why not? You only live once.
That's true.
So yeah, give me something to aim for.
That's perfect. Nice. That's awesome. Hey, look, if there's anybody out there that wants to jump into that wee seat down there, feel free. Look, I'll do up my close down. I don't really
say that again. Your feed is breaking up a little.
Oh, hang on. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. I've lost the.
You can't hear me, see me. Yeah,
lost the screen.
You can hear me now. Am I good? Doing my dance.
I can hear you. Just can't see you.
Kim can. That's all that matters.
Don't worry about me. I don't need to see you. I've seen plenty of your hands. At 5 o'clock in the morning when you were feeding me brandy and stuff in San Francisco, I've seen enough of you.
hey, now what we need, I need to get this right. I merely presented you with an option, and you took the option. I didn't force you to drink the brandy at 5 o'clock in the morning.
You led the horse to water.
I think Tim was there too. Hey, look, I appreciate and I thank you for coming on, PJ. And,
thank you so much for having me, mate. I appreciate the opportunity to be on. I appreciate everyone for joining, for listening to me babble on for the last. We've been probably well over an hour, and it seems like 10 minutes. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Hans. Thanks again for having me on. It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege, and I'm blessed. Thank you.
Anyone who's out there, if you wish to get in contact with me or know somebody, actually, Crystal, yes, you. If anyone needs to get in contact with me, you can track me down on my website. Haney, who's on the side there, is constructed or designed or whatever the term is. I don't know what the term is. It's constructed. So it is there on the. You can reach out. I've got my story, so I'm just a regular guy knows what it's like to go through some stuff, and reach out. We're all here to help. PJ is an amazing person and individual.
I love. Why I love helping people, because I know what it's like to have needed help, and I had people there to help me. So, any opportunity that I can, I help people. Love it.
Yep. Lovely. Anyone want to jump in?
I'm going to leave. Well, I didn't know whether you were wrapping up, but I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave with a couple of little takeaways, and one of which is one of my favourite quotes of all time. It's hanging up on my wall above me in my office, and it's a Bruce Lee quote, and it says, "Knowing is not enough; we must apply. Willing is not enough; we must do." I love that. It's one of my favourite of all time. That, and you're an average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, so make sure you pick carefully. So I don't know, are you wrapping up now, Hans, or don't be a Megatron, Tim says.
Here I was thinking you once said don't be a Megatron.
The Negatron. Be an optimist, not a Negatron.
Don't be a Negatron, be an optimist.
An optimist prime.
Well, I kind of am wrapping up. I'll just go off the record. I don't have a spiel to say. I am who I am, and I'm just doing putting this out there for everybody to see that everyone goes through some stuff, and everybody is important. Everybody matters, no matter what we go through, and as much as it is hard sometimes, there is support out there, whether or not you know them or not. These the likes of the PJs and the Tims and the Greg Walkers and the Crystals. There's a ton of people out there. You just have to get out and look. So there you go. That's my
do you know what? One thing I will say. Sorry, I can't stop. But one thing I will say is so a lot of people are afraid to reach out for help. They're afraid to ask for help, and that's the worst thing you could do. You'd be surprised how many people are willing to help if you just ask for it. It's unreal. Since I started, you think to yourself, I really don't want to bother that person. They're busy, they're successful, they're doing their own thing. You don't want to be a burden to them. But man, I started asking people for help, and people, I'm blown away by the people that will bend over backwards to try and help you. It's always ask for help. It doesn't matter how far up you think you are, or how, ask for help, man. Ask for help. Everyone needs help, and you'd be surprised the people that are willing to offer you help and advice. So
I agree. Totally agree. Let me just pause the record. And like something out of the 80s. Ding. I've re-recorded. Done. We're in. We're back.
You're putting it back on. We're back recording again.
Of course we are.
So I'm gonna leave out with this one. Hans, keep doing what you're doing, buddy. I love it. It's an absolute brilliant idea. And hopefully I'm going to be able to catch all of the next shows. Greg Walker's coming on. So I'm going to close off with Sláinte, Tauncha, agus Ahas as health, wealth, and happiness. And that's what I wish for each and every one of you guys. Big Walker in the house.
Big Walker. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, my man? What's up? Had the Bruce Lee quote there. That's what I'm talking about, the Bruce Lee quote. Listen, guys, if you guys want to learn about entrepreneurship, this is my buddy, Abong Aka.
I know Abong.
I'll be speaking with him in October in Vegas. This dude, it's a no BS approach. When the first thing he teaches is what I believe is banks they don't give a crap about a business plan. They don't. He teaches real world how to become an entrepreneur. I promote this man. I don't get anything from him. I just love him as my brother. He's an ex-professional basketball player, soccer player. He's a CPA. He will teach you how to go from nothing and get into a business. So I just wanted to plug him because he's one of my true friends. But PJ and Hans, what you guys were saying, listen, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is actually a strength. It means that you are a stronger person to ask for help. So Hans, when you said, there's no shame in asking for help, we've all been through our struggles, our circumstances. but at one time we were afraid to ask for help. So anyone out there who heard Hans or PJ ask for help, do not be afraid. There are answers out there. Yes, there are some a-holes out here who will say, you know, I'm too busy driving my Ferrari, I can't talk to you. But there are millions of people out there who will step out of their comfort zone and help you.
Totally agree. One thing I will say, I'm hearing an echo, is also be careful who you listen to when you ask for advice. Be careful who is, because it's not everyone that wants to help you for out of the goodness of their own heart, man. A lot of people out there, they're in it with ulterior motives. So just be careful. There's a lot of good-hearted people that want to help you and want to see you succeed and don't want anything for in return. But just be careful. There are some people out there that are not so.
No, you're absolutely right, PJ. You know, there are people out there who have their other motives, and I always tell people, go to people who have nothing to gain from you. Nothing. They shouldn't have anything that they want to sell you. They should just generally want to say, hey, you want to meet at Starbucks, I'll give you some advice. You know, because especially on social media, on Periscope, you know, on Periscope, everyone's a branding expert. Everyone's taking you to a 6- and 7-figure expert while they're sitting in their mother's basement on a bucket. Come on. So there are a lot of people out there who have other motives to help you, but there are millions of people out there who just say, hey, I can't do it today on Monday, but if you can meet me here on Thursday, I'll give you all the advice that I can possibly give you. But most people in the world are they have a guilt that it's a weakness to ask for help, or they don't think anyone above them is going to want to help them unless they're, you know, because we're all inundated with, Hans, I'll help you. I'll help you. Sure, Hans called me and said, first of all, Hans, I started out $1,100 for 90 minutes. What? You just told me you would help me. That's where you get a lot on social media. No, when I just spoke to a guy out in Wyoming. He heard me on a blab and he said, hey, Big Dreamer, I heard you put your phone number out there. Because I don't care who has my phone number. I put it on blab, Periscope. And he said, you said that when you get in a hole, stop digging. And he said, brothers, he said, listen, my wife and I both lost our job. We have bills. The hole is getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So I called him. And first thing I said was, I'm not going to charge you anything. I don't charge you anything. I'm calling you on my own free time. And he said, I thought you were going to charge me for something. I said, no. So I helped him. I'm helping him now get out of that hole. And the first thing I told him was, the first sign of your strength was calling me asking for help. That's the first sign of strength. And now we're working on that, getting him out of that hole. And the first thing I told him was, I said, you said you and your wife weren't working, right? He said, yes. I said, this is the deal. All you got to do is worry about your home, eat rice and beans and rice, and have some type of transportation, whether it's a bicycle or a bus. Then you have to get income. Go to Taco Bell, a Subway, a Walmart or something and get income coming in today. And that dude started crying, man. He couldn't believe that there was someone out there wanting to help him without charging him. I said, now, when you get on your feet and you're making $600,000 a year, I'm going to send you a bill for $1,100 for 90 minutes, right? When you're, and he said, I don't think I'll ever, I said, stop it. Stop it. Stop the lies that you're telling to yourself. Why are you going to say, I don't think I'll ever make $600,000? I said, dude, you have more skills that you just told me that I could ever possibly have. And we make that a month. So what do you mean you're telling me you're not going to make that? You got to stop with your storytelling. You have to, whatever your thoughts will either imprison you or they will empower you. It's your two choices. And this man cried. And I said, you should cry. And then you pull up your big boy pants, big boy britches, and then you get on with your life. You stop whining and you start winning, and then you go get that income and you stop digging that hole. You start filling in that hole with all the power, empowerment thoughts that you're going to put inside of your mind, because you're going to go from almost losing your house to your wife almost losing you. I said, I guarantee you, in a year, year and a half, 2 years, you're going to be calling me saying, thanks, Big Dreamer. You told me. You told me. So that's what life is about, is impacting people. I'm tired of people talking about, making income, but they don't want to impact people. When you impact the world will impact you. My wife and I behind me never, ever wanted to make millions of dollars. All we wanted to do was make sure our baby, when she was born, that she never had to collect worms and put them in a can to help feed her siblings. We wanted to make sure our daughter had a better education. And guess what? We impacted the world, and then the world impacted us. So I tell people, stop talking about the income and start telling the world how you're going to impact. Impact. What are you going to give? What are you going to share? Don't just hold your hand out and say, me, world. There's too many me people out there in the world. Give back. You can't give $1. Listen, my wife tells a story all the time. 30 years ago when we were working regular jobs and a girl came by, she says, does anyone have any money? I forgot my money. I said, yeah, here's $5. She said, what do you have? I said, I don't have anything. She said, you give me your last $5? My wife said, yes. She said, you guys are stupid. You're stupid. 30 years later.
Big dreaming.
Where we at, baby?
What about the thank you for the $5?
No, she called me stupid. And 30 years later, we still see her. She's on her third marriage. She still has problems. See, it was that mindset thing.
And Greg,
I tell people all the time. Listen, you see America. You see things back there on my wall. One of those things is people always say, "I'll give when I make such and such." There's plaques back there from George W. Bush from high school, where my wife gave $50,000 to build a gymnasium for a high school who didn't have it. I tell people, do you think it's hard to give away $10 when you make $1,000? Wait till you try to give a check away for $50,000. If you think giving $10 away is hard, you will never give $50,000 away because you won't even get the $50,000. I tell people you start where you are with what you have because what you have is plenty. If you can give $1, you'll give $1 million. It's just plain and simple. If you can't buy someone a Starbucks coffee when you only have $4.50 in your pocket and you're not going to get your Frappuccino, whatever, you'll never give when you make $100,000 because you won't make it to $100,000. So as the world says, what you give is what you will get. And I'm a living example. I'm the example A that is true. I know plenty of people who gave back and now they're getting 100-fold. It might not happen at 25. It might happen at 45. It might happen at 60. Heck, Harlan Sanders didn't see his riches till he was 66 years old, selling his chicken recipe for KFC, right? But he gave back for 25 years, driving around the United States, just giving his chicken recipe to people. Look, he impacted the world. Now the world's impacting his great-great-grandchildren. So it's about impacting, not income.
I'm just like, I'm blown away. You drop so many nuggets in a short amount of space, and we're just like,
so many nuggets had the Colonel running scared.
My wife just texted me. She says, "You better leave them two alone."
Your wife is awesome, Greg.
She said, "You better leave them alone." Listen, guys, we know what it's like. We cried in our bedroom a month ago. We cried in our bedroom. My bedroom is bigger than the house I grew up with, 14 brothers and sisters. We just sat there and just something came across both of us. We looked at something in our bedroom. I think it was a picture of my daughter and my nieces that we raised. And we looked at each other, had the same thought. We looked at each other and we cried as two 50-year-old people. We cried and we said, we can't believe that we have the life that we have now. That we were feeding 200 people a month 6 months ago. Now we're up to 300. Our goal is 1,000 people. We cried because here's two little white kids who grew up in an all-black neighborhood that other white people would call us white trash. They would spit on us. I remember being spit on saying, hey, isn't your brother the one in the news? Hey, I heard what your father did. And we have the life that only a few people could ever dream of. So that's why I speak to people everywhere I go. When I see a guy who's a janitor and I can tell that people's been picking with him and he's kind of feeling bad, man, I've gone over and grabbed his mop and said, sit down. I'm gonna mop this floor for you. Because, brother, you are going to be elevated to heights that you never thought you could go. Because we were once there. I hate when someone says, hey, Hans, I'll take this. And I'll say, why can't Hans wait on me? Well, Hans is just a, and that's where the big dreamer gets pissed off. Because I'll say, I at one time was just a cook, just a janitor, just a dishwasher. And you want to speak to me now, don't you? Well, you better speak to that cook, that dishwasher, that guy, that girl holding that door serving your food. Because you don't know if they're going to be the next Brad Pitt. You don't know if they're going to be the next PJ Quinn. You don't know if they're going to be the next Hans Frailer. You don't. So the rule is impact people. Impact people. If you want anything in your life, I don't care what it is, impact people. Hans, you heard my story about speaking. I didn't start speaking until 2 years ago in Toastmasters. Now I'm speaking all around the world. I'm speaking in Vegas twice. Just spoke to 5,200 people in Detroit, Michigan. Right? They brought me there to get people of color to become photographers. Really? I looked at him and said, "You understand I'm white, right?" Yeah. And I'm getting ready to speak to New York. I'm doing a 36 college tour with a friend of mine, David Gentle. We're going to do a 36 college tour in September. Come on. See, I impacted the world first. I didn't think about making money off people at first. I wanted to impact, and now the world's making an impact on me. So you guys have the right attitude. You guys have the right thought process. You guys, your thoughts will not imprison you. Your thoughts are empowering you. And that's my last nugget, because my wife just texted me again and said, leave those guys alone.
Greg,
hey, guys, I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. Can't wait to see you guys again. And man, if I leave this earth tomorrow, both of you two have made me a better person.
We're going to carry the torch for you, Greg, if that happens. I'll be the next big dreamer.
Listen, if you guys don't hear from me tomorrow, just tell my wife and my daughter, my nieces, my nephews, hey, your dad wasn't the big butthole that you thought he was. Love you guys. Have a great day. Have a phenomenal week, man.
Thanks,
See you.
Greg.
Peace.
Thumbs up. That guy, man.
He's a legend. He's absolute legend, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in San Francisco, just hanging out with him was such a privilege. I don't know. Can't go. I'm so looking forward to Vegas. Tell you, there's going to be so many. I mean, you know, I jump into someone's Periscope. Hey, have you heard about this? And they're like, no. Send them the website.
That's it. It's all happening again, man. It's all happening again. I can't wait. It's going to be epic.
Right, that's brilliant. Let's go off the record for now. Yeah, I'm blown away. Yeah.